Good Wednesday morning. Today is interesting. Again, it's servant leadership, but it's interesting. There's a price to servant leadership. Very often it's rejected from within. The two texts today are basically from within the community. It's not the attack on the prophet from without, it's the attack of the prophet from within. First is Jeremiah, but second it's Christ himself. Christ is condemned from within, betrayed from within, you see. Often the voice of the prophet the voice of the prophet that calls us to what is best in us, we don't want to hear it. There's a subtle form in all of us, I don't know what it is, but it is a resistance to excellence. I guess that's the word for it. It's a resistance to what draws us to real excellence. Instead, we become comfortable in our own self-induced mediocrity. We don't want to hear the voice of excellence. We don't want to be challenged beyond ourselves, beyond our comfortableness, you see, let alone our vice. We don't want to hear it. And that's the text. Jeremiah's got it here. It says, the people of Judah, so his own people, and the citizens of Jerusalem said, come, let us contrive a plot against Jeremiah. Why? It will not mean the loss of instruction from the priests, nor of counsel from the wise, nor messages from the prophets. And so let us destroy him by his own tongue. Let us carefully note his every word. Heed me, O Lord, and listen to what my adversaries say. Must good be repaid with evil, that they should dig a pit to take my life? Remember that I stood before you to speak in their behalf, to turn away your wrath from them. That's Jeremiah talking, and he's not taking the heat, you see. Often the voice of the prophet is resisted from within. The prophet doesn't speak to the world. The prophet speaks to his own, you see, internally. Because sometimes we just don't want to hear not only what is wrong, but what we should be that is right. That is, sometimes we're more resistant to the call to excellence than we are fear of a failure. Did I say that right? I'll tell you, as a teacher, very often it's very easy. No, let me tell you, as a student, I think of myself when I was in high school, junior high and high school. I was so satisfied with being mediocre. I really was. How the hell I ever became a college professor is beyond me. But although I'm a great witness to all the kids in class, because I said, if I can do it, anybody can do it. I can make it out of mediocrity to some kind of excellence. You can. If I can do it, anybody can do it. I tell them that, never quit. Believe me, you're looking at it. And then I think sometimes the prophetic voice, it could be our teachers, it could be our parents who are calling us to something greater than ourselves. And it's so easy to collapse into ourselves and be satisfied, really being satisfied with mediocrity. I remember one of our priests was probably as passionate priest was probably as eloquent as anybody I ever knew. Street smart, eloquent, okay? He was a masterful speaker. Nicholas Sitz. Nick said about somebody, he's content to be a jerk. He's content to be a jerk, you see? The prophetic voice won't leave you as a jerk. It's saying to you, you're better than that. I'm not going to leave you being a jerk. You want to be a jerk? I can't stop you, but I can sure call you beyond it. And often we don't want to hear that. We just don't want to hear it. We want to be left alone. Like, don't bother me. Leave me the way I am, instead of help me to be excellent, you see? I think when we love each other, okay? Love is a call to excellence. It's never a call to mediocrity. When we look into each other's faces and we see the beauty in the other, we want the other to see themselves as beautiful. And so our love for them compels them to see themselves as beautiful and then being drawn by the beautiful. Once you see yourself as beautiful, that's a calling. It's a calling to live virtuously the beautiful life because you are beautiful. But as long as you see yourself as ugly, you'll be content with ugliness. That's a line, isn't it? You're content to be ugly. Where love tells us when we are loved by someone who sees us, they see us as beautiful and calls us to the beauty that is uniquely ourselves. It's the beauty of love, you see? Yeah, see? The gospel has something similar to that. I'll show you. So Jesus, what is he doing? He's going He's the ultimate servant. He's the suffering servant of Isaiah. He's going to Jerusalem to die for his people. See? Jesus was going up to Jerusalem. When you know he's going to Jerusalem, you know he's going to the crucifixion. He took the 12 disciples aside by themselves, and he said to them on the way, "Behold, we are going up to Jerusalem, and the Son of Man will be handed over to the chief priests and scribes, and they will condemn him to death." See, he's the true prophet. That's the Jeremiah, you see. From the inside, he gets condemned. The Romans weren't going to do anything to him. And they will condemn him to death and hand him over to the Gentiles. Daddy will hand him over to the Gentiles, right? To be mocked and scourged and crucified. And he will be raised on the third day. That's the gospel. That's the core of the charisma of the gospel. Who and what is Christ? The Good Friday, Easter Sunday, the Paschal mystery, see? That's a tough pill, because he's saying the role of myself as servant is to die for the beloved, to die for you, to be betrayed and to die for you. The mother of the sons of Zebedee approached Jesus with her sons and did him homage, wishing to ask him for something, okay? She's not going to get the message. What did she say? "What do you want for you? What do you want?" He says to her. She answered, "Command that these two sons of mine sit, one at your right and the other at your left, in your kingdom." So she wants power for. They're sitting one on the right, one on the left of the king. Holy moly, they are maximally powerful, okay? See? Jesus said, "You know what you're asking for? Can you drink the chalice I'm going to drink?" That ain't power. It's the opposite of power. The ultimate service. The chalice is the chalice of salvation. That is the cross. Right? They say, "Yes, we can." They say, he replied, "My chalice, yeah, you're going to drink it, okay. But to sit at my right and my left, that's not me to give. But it's for those for whom it is prepared by my Father." Okay? When they heard this, they became indignant at the two brothers. No kidding. But Jesus answered and said to them, "You know that the rulers of the Gentiles lord it over them. Great ones make their authority over them felt. But it's not so among you, shall not be so among you. Rather, here's your servant leadership." See? "Whoever wishes to be great among you shall be your servant. Who wishes to be first among you shall be your slave. Just so the Son of Man did not come to be served, but to serve, and to give his life as a ransom for many." That's a powerful line. See that? "The greatest among you is the servant. Think of my Father standing at the table." See? That's a true story. My Father's image is powerful to me. You can see it's really glued in my head. And I see the priesthood that way. I have to say that. I have to see it. I don't see it as a privileged way of life or access to anything. It's a call to service. It's a call to service. I really mean that. You know, I'll give you one more of my Father's restaurant, okay? Learn you something. Learn you something. I teach English. No, I don't. My Father's restaurant, the priest, this in the 50s, so it's a long time, 70 years ago. They're telling you about the priesthood as being a privileged class. 125 priests a week ate in that restaurant, swankiest restaurant in New England, never had to pay the tab. Somebody always paid for them. There's something wrong in that picture. We're not there to be waited on. We're not there to get a free meal. We're there to wait on the tables. We should have been waiting on those tables, not sitting at them. There's something terribly wrong in that image, pathetically wrong, that we are so privileged that we are waited on. I find that whole picture abhorrent. I find it abhorrent. I mean that. We're not here to get served. We should be picking up the tab, not somebody else picking it up for us. I mean it. We should be earning our living by being good servants, good waiters at the table. I really mean it. I think that's the ethos of the priesthood today. I think they see themselves as servants. I think the notion of a privileged class is gone now. I think the Second Vatican Council gutted it. I hope so. I truly hope so. We are called to be servants, not masters. We stand at the table. We don't sit at the table.